Good evening and many thanks for joining us on Chris TV 254 News broadcast at 9 p.m. I am your presenter, Tekla Gadhoni.
And I, Angela Mwihaki.
Here are our top stories of the day. UDA Secretary General Malala vows to sue ODM over Monday's protest.
It's finally my turn. President Hillary Ayo succeeds MMU presidential powers from Sheldon Washa.
Ramadan is finally here. Muslims all over the world are hours away from their holiest season.
The rich poor. Meet Richard Koitalel, a comrade with a big generous heart.
And in sports, Mbappe succeeds French captain Ambad from Hugo Lloris.
Our SMS number is 9990.
You can also find us on YouTube and Facebook at Chris TV 254. Welcome to News in Detail. Starting with politics, United Democratic Alliance Party UDA Secretary General Cleophas Malala has threatened legal action against Orange Democratic Movement ODM following the aftermath of Monday's demonstration in Kisumu.
Speaking on Citizen TV's News Night Show on Tuesday, Malala claimed that the Odinga-led party has hired goons to destroy the recently opened UDA offices in Kisumu and touch down property.
He therefore said that he will write to the Registrar of Political Parties, Anne Deritu, and direct the party's advocate to file a suit in the High Court to have ODM held accountable for the damage caused on Monday.
The former Kakamega senator also said he will request the court to stop the allocation of political parties' funds until the case he files is concluded.
The country is being told that we are demanding for three things. One, for the servers to be opened. Number two, we want the cost of living to go down. Number three, we want the issue of the IEBC selection panel to stop doing their work and to wait until we can be able to have a sober recruitment process that will be able to involve everyone. Number two, we are also telling the country that demonstrations is our right. Article 37 is quite clear that we have a right to picket, we have a right to demonstrate. What the Kenya Kwanza administration is trying to do is trying to take us back to the dictator period. These are areas, these are things that had already been mentioned way back in the Akiwumi report. They have been mentioned in the Kennedy Kiluku report of 1992. And we will not take the country back to that era. So the reason why we want the servers open is because we have always wanted the servers to be open from the get-go. The Supreme Court declined to emphasize, or rather to grant us that prayer, that those servers be opened. There was a letter which was sent by the guys who had messed up the entire election, saying that we are going to be infringing in their rights.
Intellectual property rights.
Intellectual property right. But what intellectual property right?
Okay.
When we have paid billions of shillings to be able to carry out an election, when that data was our own data. I think the only business that we're very good at as a country now is just coming up with taxes. Every single tax. On a daily basis, you will see every department, every government department, coming up with a notification of a particular tax. The latest is KEBS, telling all manufacturers that there is a manufacturing tax. You want to kill people? So when you overtax Kenyans, that tax goes back and increases the cost of living.
You cannot demand for servers to be opened 7 months down the line. Second, whose responsibility is it to open servers? Is it the responsibility of the president? No. The issue of cost of living. The cost of living did not start going up 2 months ago. The cost of living has been going up since the Uhuru administration, since the handshake administration. You know very well that there was a point where unga was at 230 shillings. Why did Azimio people demonstrate when the price of unga was 230 shillings? Why are they demonstrating when the price of unga is now going down to 180 shillings? These are not demands that are genuine.
Multimedia University of Kenya new president Hillary Ayo has officially gone into his diary to mark today as one of his greatest days after ascending to presidential powers. This is after handing over ceremony that was done within the school.
Hillary Ayo succeeded outgoing President Sheldon Washa, and this is after beating Kiama Githuku in the March 6 Multimedia University elections.
In other positions, Sharon Omburo succeeded Christine Arima as the vice chairperson. Shadrach Ogota paved way for Clinton Mitunda in sports and entertainment ministry. Sylvia Okongo inherited the financial briefcase from Barry Ombala. Job Mongare was succeeded by Ronald Cheriot as the Secretary General. Kiama replaced Thaddeus in Special Needs Ministry as Ifra Hussein succeeded Lavenda Achieng in Academic Ministry.
Our reporter Collins Kiari was there and has more.
"16 days after winning the Multimedia University presidential race and 5 days after being sworn in, President Hillary Ayo finally conquered his campus' ultimate political peak by succeeding both the instruments of power and the presidential office from his immediate predecessor Sheldon Washer in a colorful handing over ceremony. Ayo reached his political peak by overpowering the commonly known Sankara movement under its leader and by then presidential candidate Githuku Kiama, who remains to be inspired by the former Burkina Faso military officer and President Thomas Noel Sankara. With a smooth transition of power, Hillary Ayo and Sharon Omburo are now the current Multimedia University president and deputy president, respectively. Other Multimedia University of Kenya Student Association officials who ascended into power include Clinton Mitunda in sports and entertainment, Sylvia Okongo in finance, Ronald Cheriot as Secretary General, Kiama in special needs, and Ifra Hussein in academics. The question remains, will they go beyond the standards set by the outgoing regime? Reporting for Chris TV 254 from Multimedia University of Kenya, I am Collins Kiarie.
Collins Kiari's report takes us to a first commercial break. We shall be right back.
Time flies, and what you speak, what you hear, and what you see cannot be compared with what you touch. The Multimedia University ICT Museum offers you a step-by-step exchange in the real time. Be the first to experience a touch of history, a peek of the future in the present.
Karibuni sana, karibuni. Niwauzie?
Ugali matumbo batia mimi.
Ugali matumbo! Na wewe?
Ipe wali maragwe.
Wali? Hey! Wewe, mchele madando hapo!
Nilikuwa nataka kaomena na kadoma.
Customer, usijali, chakula yako tutakutengenezea kwa dili yako tu.
Maisha yako, mapendeleo yako. Tunukiwa na Safaricom. Chagua bei yako ya kupigia simu au data. Piga *444# au utembelee My Safaricom app upate deal poa ya kupiga simu. Uongee zaidi au ubrowse zaidi.
Nataka chapati na crips.
Mala sausage. Nataka ugali na
Thanks for staying with us. Moving on, Saudi Arabia, home of the holiest shrines in Islam and in Mecca, Medina, has announced that the fasting month of Ramadan will start on Thursday.
The Kingdom Supreme Court ruled Tuesday evening that the Islamic calendar month of Shaban, which precedes Ramadan, will end today, meaning Ramadan will begin tomorrow, the official Saudi press agency reported.
Authorities earlier on Tuesday called on residents to try to spot the crescent moon that marks the start of Ramadan, but it was not visible, state media said.
The official crescent sighting committee in neighboring Qatar announced on Twitter that Thursday is the first day of the blessed month of Ramadan. The daytime fasting month of Ramadan is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. Observant Muslims refrain from eating and drinking from dawn to dusk and traditionally gather with family and friends to break their fast in the evening. Fasting is strictly observed in Saudi Arabia, with restaurants closed until sunset after meals. It's also a time of prayers, with the faithful converging in large numbers at mosques, especially at night. The starting date of Ramadan, the holiest Muslim month, is set by both lunar calculations and physical sightings to determine the beginning of a new month. As we wish a happy Ramadan season to our Muslim brothers and sisters, we are also called to emulate the spirit of prayer and sacrifice. Reporting for Chris TV 254 Nairobi, my name is Karen Mwihaki.
Shifting to Multimedia University, Richard Koitalel, a first-year degree student in journalism, seems to be the latest person to write his name on the Galaxy of the Living Saints. This is after him being a regular figure in the Tone Lamaji Children's Home located in Gataka, Kajiado County.
With the Lenten season being midway and Ramadan season peeping, Richard Koitalel seems to understand the message of these two seasons, which is simply fasting and sharing little we have the poor.
With his big generous heart, Richard spares his time and the little he has for the many children in Tone Lamaji Children's Home, something that brings smiles and joy to them.
Our reporter, Crescent Ouma, interacted with Richard and he has this.
As you can see, I'm just live from Multimedia University of Kenya, and today I've come to meet the common name in the Tone Lamaji Children's Home. This is the man called Richard Koitalel, whose name, of course, is echoing in every corner of the Tone Lamaji Children's Home. Of course, he is a regular visitor there, and there have been a lot of things talked about him concerning the children's home. Maybe we would like just him to introduce himself and actually tell us how did he come to know this Tone Lamaji Children's Home, and how does he make the communication, and maybe what is the good thing he has come to know or gotten from the Tone Lamaji Children's Home, and what will actually be his message to that person who is watching him. Maybe starting with your name. Just tell us your name and the course you're taking here in the Multimedia University of Kenya.
Okay, my name is Richard Koitalel, a student at Multimedia University of Kenya, year 1, semester 2. I'm taking a Bachelor of Journalism.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how did you come to know the Tone Lamaji Children's Home?
So I got to know the Tone Lamaji Children's Home through one of my friends who welcomed me on the 12th of March. I went there as a photographer. Actually, he just took me. I knew that nothing is going to happen there, so he just took me, telling me that we are going for an event. So it is when I found that it is a children's home, and it was my first time to go there. And I got impressed by the kids, how they behave. That is how I made to know Tone Lamaji, and I developed love towards the kids.
So talking of kids, of course, people are blessed with different talents. What are some of the talents you've seen from the Tone Lamaji Children's Home, from those children staying there?
Oh, the children there, they are just amazing. We have footballers there, we have dancers. So actually, if you visit my Instagram handle, you'll find some clips of the kids dancing. So those are the talents that are found there. We also have some rugby players, though they are still small, but it is those are talents that they are developing within themselves. So they play football and they dance very well.
So I've just heard that here in Multimedia University of Kenya, when you mention of the name Tony Lamaji Children's Home, whatever comes first is the name Richard Koitalel. And I've heard you've already come up with a WhatsApp group. Where did this idea of WhatsApp group come from?
So this idea just came within myself. Starting from the day I met the kids, I was impressed by how the kids are, the talents in Tony Lamaji. So it kind of pushed me to do something about that, because I found to know that the kids don't have a specific sponsor, so they depend on donors. So that's why I decided to come up with a group. It's a contribution group that is helping me. It is helping me to get money to take to the children's home, which will help to finance the kids throughout the month.
So the members of this group, do they only offer money or any other goods?
No, they also offer other goods like stationery and clothes, apart from money.
So it's the heart you actually possess is one of the few people having in this world. Maybe what can you tell that viewer who is watching you right now?
So my message to the viewer is that let's try to develop love towards those kids or any other vulnerable group in the society, because by doing so, it's like a way of giving back to the society. And let's remember that giving out is not all about richness, but it's about the good heart and what you have to give and the happiness in it. So what I would like to say is that I always remember that they say old people make war, but it is children who make the history. So we'll have to make them happy to have a good history tomorrow.
All right. And it has been actually a pleasure talking to you, Richard Koitalel, and I continue to wish you the very best, not only in academics, but in your holistic life, and also just having, being felt with those children there from the Tony Lamaji is a good heart you're having, and I encourage you to continue the same spirit and also spread the same spirit to very many people who come across you. So it has been actually a pleasure talking to you. And back to you, my viewer. They say it doesn't matter how much you give. Whatever matters is the love you put in giving. Of course, these are children that want to feel our love, to feel our care, and to feel even just our presence. And you are all called upon to even spare your time. Just go and have time with them in the Tony Lamaji Children's Home, which is located in actually Gataka in Kajiado County. Just as Mother Teresa of Calcutta once has said, if you cannot feed 100 people, then feed one. Not all of us can do great things, but we can all do small things with great love, just as our brother Richard. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet come, and we therefore have today to begin the task of touching the living body of Christ in the broken bodies of the hungry and suffering. It doesn't matter how much we give, but how much love we put into giving. Chris Ntoma, Chris TV 254, Multimedia University.
Thanks, Crescent, for that. It's indeed a good spirit from Richard. We take our second break. We shall be right back.
Japo tuna tofauti,
kila moja wetu ana sauti. Tuinuane,
ushirikiano wetu.
Tuinuane,
na ukaribu wetu. maishani tuinuane.
Nafurahia undugu na uko wetu, na sherekea kazi na bidii yetu, tuvute pamoja, tushirikiane, bega kwa bega tujikaze, tusaidiane. Niko na uwezo wa kujiendeleza. Niko nayo nguvu, nitajitahidi. Niko na fanaka, nitajitolea. Niko na baraka, niko na kazi nayofanya.
Thanks again for staying with us. In sports, Kylian Mbappe has succeeded the retired Hugo Lloris as France captain. Paris Saint-Germain forward Mbappe accepted the proposal after discussions with the French coach. Tottenham goalkeeper Lloris brought an end to an international career in January after losing World Cup final a month earlier. Lloris had been the skipper for more than a decade.
The youngest ever goal scorer at a World Cup.
On the turn there was Matuidi and Mbappe! Oh yes! France in this seesaw game, 3-2 up. Helped on here, Mbappe's got another one!
That's all we had for you tonight. I am Tekla Gadoni.
And I, Angela Muihaki. Until next time, have a lovely night.